3 days after the vote, the formal ceremony took place. The Great Dome on Dravis Prime had been reconfigured. Where there had been 27 seats for council members, there were now 28. The newest seat bore the symbol of Earth, blue and green representing the homeworld of humanity. President Catherine Webb stood in that new seat for the first time. It felt strange and right at the same time. Around her, ambassadors from across the galaxy watched, some with respect, some with suspicion, all with awareness that things had changed forever. Ambassador Frank Morrison sat beside Catherine. He was Earth's new permanent representative to the council. He was a tall man with gray hair and a kind face, but his eyes were sharp. He had been a diplomat his entire career, and now he had the most important diplomatic post in human history. "How does it feel?" Catherine asked him quietly. "Terrifying," Frank admitted, "but good." The ceremony was formal and long. Each species welcomed Earth officially. Speeches were made. Treaties were signed. Documents were sealed with various symbols and technologies. By the end, Earth was legally and officially a member of the Galactic Council with all rights and responsibilities. But Catherine knew that the real work was just beginning. After the ceremony, she stood on the observation deck of the ECS Valiant, looking down at Dravis Prime. Admiral Jacob Hayes stood beside her, holding 2 cups of coffee. He handed her one. "We made history today," he said. "We forced history," Catherine corrected. "There is a difference. Making history is something people celebrate immediately. Forcing history is something people argue about for generations." Jacob took a drink of his coffee. "Do you think the Council will honor the agreement?" "Some will," Catherine said. "Species like the Krell Dominion and the Pleiadian Union understand strength. They will respect us because we proved we are strong. Others, like the Vexians, will test us. They will push boundaries. They will look for weaknesses. Then we stay strong," Jacob said simply. Catherine nodded. "The fleet stays together for now. We will not show fear. We will not show doubt. We are equals now, but we have to prove it every single day." Her communicator beeped. It was Commander Martinez on the communication channel. "Madam President, we are receiving messages from multiple species. They want to open trade negotiations. They want technology exchanges. They want to establish embassies." Catherine smiled. "It is amazing how friendly everyone becomes when you have a fleet backing you up. Accept the meetings, Commander, but make sure they understand Earth negotiates from strength now, not desperation." "Understood, ma'am." Over the next few weeks, everything changed quickly. Human trade ships began appearing at alien ports. The ships were welcomed this time, not because the aliens suddenly liked humans, but because they respected human power and wanted human technology. A small freighter called the Destiny became the first human vessel to dock at a Pleiadian station. Captain Nina Foster was nervous as she walked down the docking ramp. 2 years ago, aliens had refused to even talk to humans. Now they were eager to do business. A Pleiadian official greeted her. His shimmering skin reflected the station's lights. "Welcome, Captain Foster. We have been expecting you." "Thank you," Nina said. "I have cargo manifest for quantum drive components and power generation systems, as agreed in the trade treaty." The official examined the manifests on his datapad. "Excellent. Your payment is ready. Also, several Pleiadian companies want to discuss long-term contracts with Earth. There is much interest in human engineering." Nina smiled. "I will pass that along to my government." Back on Earth, things were changing too. The isolation was over. Alien ambassadors were returning. The space stations that had been empty for 2 years were suddenly busy again. But this time, the aliens came as partners, not as teachers talking to students. Director Amanda Pierce stood in the mountain base watching the latest reports. Kevin Walsh stood beside her, as always. "Production is shifting," Kevin said. "We are still building military ships, but now we are also building civilian vessels. Trade ships, colony ships, science vessels. Earth is expanding." "Good," Amanda said. "The military fleet got us respect. But trade and science will get us prosperity. We need both." 6 months after the summit, the Galactic Council held its regular session. This time, Earth was a full participant. Ambassador Frank Morrison sat in Earth's seat, ready to vote on galactic matters. The first major vote was about trade routes. A dispute had arisen between the Vexian Collective and the Saran Federation about which species controlled certain shipping lanes. Both sides presented their arguments. Then the vote happened. Frank voted with the Sarans. His vote, combined with others, gave the Sorans victory. After the session, Ambassador Trenzar approached him. "You voted against the Vexians," Trenzar said. His forearms were crossed. "I voted for the side that had better legal standing," Frank replied calmly. "Earth does not take sides based on friendship. We take sides based on what is right and fair." Trenzar studied the human for a long moment. Then he nodded. "That is wise. Perhaps Earth will be a good addition to the Council after all." But not everything was smooth. 3 months later, a crisis emerged. A species called the Draxians, who were not part of the Council, began raiding trade ships near human space. They attacked a human cargo vessel, killing 15 crew members. Admiral Jacob Hayes received the report on the bridge of the Valiant. He immediately contacted President Webb, who was back on Earth. "Madam President, we have a situation." Catherine listened to the report. Her face grew hard. "Do we know where the Draxians are based?" "Yes, ma'am. We tracked them to a system about 30 light-years from Earth. They have a base on an asteroid." "Send a message to the Galactic Council," Catherine ordered. "Inform them that Earth is responding to an attack on our citizens. Then take a battle group and remove that base." "Yes, ma'am," Jacob said. 2 days later, 5 human warships appeared at the Draxian base. Admiral Hayes sent a simple message. "You attacked a human vessel. You killed human citizens. You have 1 hour to surrender peacefully." The Draxians responded by firing on the human ships. It was a mistake. The human fleet responded with devastating precision. Railguns tore through the asteroid base. Missiles eliminated the Draxian ships trying to flee. In 15 minutes, the threat was over. News of the engagement spread across the galaxy quickly. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Some species were concerned about Earth using military force so quickly. Ambassador Frank Morrison stood before the Council. "Earth did not seek this conflict. We were attacked. We responded. We defended our citizens. Is that not what every species here would do?" Ambassador Krelak spoke. "The Draxians were pirates. They were criminals, but you destroyed an entire base." "They had a choice to surrender," Frank said. "They chose to fight. We defended ourselves. That is our right as a sovereign species and council member." Ambassador Vexnor nodded. "The human is correct. The Draxians have raided shipping for years. Perhaps they needed to learn that some targets fight back. I support Earth's actions." The vote was close, but ultimately the Council ruled that Earth's response was justified. The Draxians, what was left of them, never raided near human space again. A year after Earth joined the Council, Catherine Webb stood before the full assembly to give her first official address as a council member. The Great Dome was full. Every species was present. 1 year ago, Catherine began, Earth arrived at a summit uninvited and unwelcome. We brought a fleet because we had to prove we deserved respect. Some of you voted to accept us out of fear. Some voted because you believed it was right. Some voted against us and still think we do not belong here. She looked around at the assembled aliens. "I want to address all of you today. To those who feared us, I say this. Earth is not your enemy unless you make us one. We want peace. We want trade. We want cooperation, but we will defend ourselves if threatened. To those who believed accepting us was right, I say thank you. You saw past our youth and recognized our potential. We will not disappoint you. And to those who still think we do not belong here, I say this. Watch us. Watch what humans do over the next decade. Watch how we contribute. Watch how we grow. Then decide if we earned our place." She paused. "Earth has learned many things in the past 3 years. We learned that the galaxy is bigger than we imagined. We learned that there are species far older and wiser than us. We learned that there is much we do not know. But we also learned that age does not automatically mean wisdom, that being old does not mean being right, that respect is earned, not granted. And most importantly, we learned that humans are at their best when challenged, when pushed, when told they cannot do something. You tried to isolate us. You tried to teach us humility. Instead, you taught us self-reliance. You taught us to trust ourselves. You taught us that we do not need permission to be great." Catherine's voice grew stronger. "So here is Earth's promise to the Galactic Council. We will be good partners. We will honor our treaties. We will contribute to peace and prosperity. But we will never bow down. We will never accept being treated as lesser. We will never forget that we earned our place here." The dome was silent for a moment. Then Ambassador Vexnor started clapping. It was a human gesture, but other species joined in with their own expressions of approval. Not everyone participated. The emergency session of the Galactic Council began 2 hours after Earth's fleet arrived. The Great Dome on Dravis Prime had never been so tense. Security forces from every species stood ready, though everyone knew they were useless if the humans decided to attack. This time, President Catherine Webb stood at the central podium. Admiral Jacob Hayes and Commander Lisa Martinez flanked her on either side. The three humans looked calm and confident while ambassadors from 27 alien species stared at them with expressions ranging from anger to fear to grudging respect. Catherine did not wait for permission to speak. She simply began. 2 years ago, Ambassador Krelax came to Earth. He offered us a chance to join the Galactic Council, but it was not really an offer. It was a demand. He told us we were young and needed guidance. He told us we should listen to elder races and accept our place. When we refused, you punished us with isolation. She paused and looked around the dome. You thought isolation would break us. You thought we would panic without your technology and trade. You were wrong. You gave us exactly what we needed: time, motivation, and freedom to develop our own way. Ambassador Trenzar stood up, his forearms crossed. You call surrounding our summit with warships development? You call threatening the Council progress? This is aggression. Catherine shook her head. Is it? Let me ask you something. How many warships did the Vexian Collective bring to this summit? Trenzar blinked his large eyes. That is different. Those are defensive forces. How many? Catherine repeated. 32, Trenzar admitted quietly. Catherine turned to another section. Ambassador Soral, how many Pleiadian battle groups are currently in this system? The tall, shimmering alien shifted uncomfortably. 5 battle groups, approximately 60 ships. And the Soran Federation? Catherine asked. A small, furry creature stood up. Ambassador Nick spoke in a high-pitched voice. We brought 28 carriers and their escorts. But we are a peaceful species. Those ships are only for defense. Catherine smiled. Of course, defense, just like Earth's fleet, is for defense. The difference is that you all expected to be the only ones with weapons. You thought you could show strength while we showed weakness. That is not equality. That is intimidation. Admiral Hayes stepped forward. Commander Martinez ran an analysis of every ship in this system. Would you like to hear the results? Krelax waved a hand. That will not be necessary. I think it is necessary, Catherine said. Commander? Lisa Martinez pulled out a tablet. Between all Council species present, there are 412 military vessels in this system. Their combined firepower could destroy this planet 5 times over. Yet everyone here calls this a peaceful summit. It is traditional, Ambassador Soral said. Species show their strength as part of diplomatic protocol. Exactly, Catherine agreed. So Earth followed the same tradition. We showed our strength. Why is that wrong when we do it? The dome fell silent. No one had a good answer to that question. Finally, a new voice spoke. It belonged to Ambassador Vexnor of the Krell Dominion, a species that rarely talked in council meetings. He was ancient, his skin wrinkled and gray, but his eyes were sharp. The human makes a valid point, Vexnor said slowly. We have become comfortable in our power. We forgot what it is like to earn respect rather than demand it. Perhaps that is why this situation troubles us so much. The humans remind us of what we once were. Krelax looked frustrated. This is not about philosophy. This is about order, about the rules that have kept peace for 10,000 years. If we allow Earth to join the Council through force, what message does that send? It sends the message that the Council values strength, Catherine said. Is that not what you already value? You isolated us because you thought we were weak. Now we have proven we are strong, so the real question is whether you respect strength or only pretend to. Admiral Hayes added, Earth did not want this confrontation. We would have been happy to join as equals 2 years ago. You forced this situation by trying to make us subordinate. Now you face the consequences of your own choices. Trenzar stood up again, his voice angry. You speak of equality, but you threaten us with weapons. You surround our summit. You demand concessions. How is that different from what you accuse us of doing? Catherine's expression hardened. Because we will leave if you say no. If the Council refuses to accept Earth as an equal member, we will take our fleet home. We will stay in our space. We will not threaten you or attack you.
Can you say the same?
If we had come here weak and desperate, would you have let us leave peacefully? Or would you have used your power to force us to accept your terms? The question hung in the air. Several ambassadors looked away. They all knew the answer. Ambassador Sorrel stood up. What exactly are Earth's terms? Let us hear them clearly. Catherine nodded. Full council membership with equal voting rights. Earth gets the same voice as every other species. No probationary period. No second-class status. Agreed, Sorrel said immediately. Krelax looked shocked. You cannot simply agree. We must discuss this. What is there to discuss? Sorrel asked. The humans are here. They have proven they are capable. They want to join as equals. That seems reasonable to me, Catherine continued. Second, recognition of human territorial claims. We want sovereignty over our solar system and the surrounding star cluster. About 50 star systems in total. 50 systems? Trenzar exclaimed. That is excessive. The Vexian Collective controls 200 systems, Lisa Martinez pointed out. The Pleiadian Union has 300. The Krell Dominion has over 500. 50 systems for Earth seems quite modest in comparison. But those species earned their territory over thousands of years, Krelax argued. And we are willing to earn ours, Catherine said. But we will not accept less just because we are younger. Equal means equal, Admiral Hayes spoke up. We are not asking for systems that belong to other species. We are asking for unclaimed space near Earth, space that nobody wanted until now. Vexnor nodded slowly. That seems fair. I support this term, Catherine went on. Third, restoration of all trade and diplomatic relations. Earth wants access to galactic markets. We will trade our technology for yours. We will share knowledge. But it will be mutual exchange, not charity flowing one direction. What technology could Earth possibly have that we would want? Trenzar asked dismissively. Lisa Martinez smiled. Our quantum drives are 17% more efficient than Council standard drives. Our power generation systems produce 23% more energy. Our weapons targeting algorithms are significantly faster. Our medical technology has made breakthroughs in genetic repair. Should I continue? The ambassadors whispered among themselves. Some looked skeptical. Others looked interested. In exchange for these terms, Catherine said, Earth will sign the mutual defense treaties. If any council member is attacked, Earth will help defend them. We will participate in council operations. We will contribute to maintaining galactic peace. We will be full partners in every sense. And if we refuse all of this? Krelax asked quietly. Catherine looked him directly in his 3 eyes. Then Earth remains independent. We will defend our territory. We will trade with whoever wants to trade with us. We will make our own alliances. And if any species tries to force us to comply, we will defend ourselves. You saw our fleet. You know we can. That sounds like a threat, Trenzar said. It is a promise, Admiral Hayes corrected. Earth will not start a war, but we will finish one if we have to. Ambassador Vexnor stood up slowly. His old joints creaked. I have served on this council for 200 years. I have seen many species join us. Some came begging. Some came defeated. Some came confused. This is the first time a species has come demanding equality and having the strength to back up that demand. He looked around at the other ambassadors. I believe we should accept Earth's terms. Not because we are afraid of their fleet, though it is impressive, but because they are right. We have become comfortable treating younger species as subordinates. Perhaps it is time we remembered what true equality means. Several ambassadors nodded. Others still looked uncertain. Krelax seemed to deflate slightly. If we accept these terms, it changes everything. Other species will see that force can get results. Other species will see that earning respect works, Catherine corrected. We did not threaten you until after you isolated us. We did not build weapons until after you tried to punish us. You created this situation. We simply responded to it. Ambassador Sorrel stood. I move that we vote on Earth's membership. Full status. Equal terms. As they requested. I second the motion, Vexnor said. Krelax looked around the dome. He could see that many ambassadors were ready to vote yes. The humans had made their point clearly. More importantly, they had the power to enforce their position. Very well, Krelax said. Let us vote. The vote took 30 minutes. Each species had time to consult with their governments back home. Each ambassador had to consider what accepting Earth meant for their own position in the galaxy. Finally, the results came in. 19 species voted yes, 6 voted no. 2 abstained. Earth was now a full member of the Galactic Council. Catherine Webb allowed herself a small smile. The Council has made a wise decision. Earth looks forward to working with all of you as equals and partners. The planet Dravis Prime was beautiful. It had purple skies and crystal towers that reached toward the clouds. For thousands of years, it had been neutral ground where the Galactic Council held its meetings. Today, it was hosting the Galactic Unity Summit. Ships from 27 different species filled the space around the planet. There were massive Vexian dreadnoughts that looked like floating cities. There were elegant Pleiadian cruisers with wings that glowed. There were Soran carriers that held hundreds of smaller fighters. The display of power was meant to impress everyone who saw it. Inside the great dome on the planet's surface, ambassadors from across the galaxy gathered. The dome was enormous, large enough to hold thousands of beings. Each species had their own section with seats designed for their particular bodies. Ambassador Krelax stood at the central podium. His 3 eyes scanned the crowd as he began to speak. The translation devices turned his clicking language into hundreds of different tongues. "Welcome, representatives of the civilized galaxy," Krelax said. "We gather once more to discuss trade, territory, and peace. Together we have maintained order for 10,000 years." Ambassador Trenzar of the Vexian Collective raised one of his 4 arms. He was a large being covered in thick armor-like skin. "What about Earth? Are the humans still refusing to join civilized society?" Krelax made a sound that translators turned into a sigh. "The humans remain isolated by their own choice. They have learned nothing from their stubbornness. Perhaps in another decade, they will be ready to accept guidance." Several ambassadors made sounds that might have been laughter. The idea of humans trying to survive alone seemed funny to them. Earth was so young, so primitive, so foolish. Then every alarm in the building started screaming. Red lights flashed. Sirens blared. Every ambassador's personal communicator lit up with emergency warnings. The peaceful atmosphere vanished in seconds. "Unknown fleet detected at system edge," the automated defense system announced. Its voice was calm but urgent. "Multiple vessels. Configuration not recognized. Identity unknown." The large display screens around the dome switched to show sensor readings. Numbers scrolled across the screens faster than most species could read them. But everyone understood what they meant. Ships. Lots and lots of ships. Coming toward Dravis Prime. "Where did they come from?" Someone shouted. "They just appeared," another voice answered. "Like they tunneled through space directly into the system." Ambassador Soral of the Pleiadian Union stood up. She was tall and thin with skin that shimmered like oil on water. "Show us visual confirmation." The screens changed. Now they showed actual images of the approaching fleet. The ambassadors stared in silence. The ships were unlike anything in the Council database. They were smaller than most military vessels, but there were so many of them. They moved in perfect formation like a school of fish or a flock of birds. Their hulls were dark and angular. Weapons covered every surface. "Computer, identify fleet composition," Krelax ordered. "Identification impossible," the computer replied. "No match in any database. Technology signatures partially match Earth design patterns." The dome erupted in chaos. Everyone started talking at once. Some were angry. Some were scared. Some were simply shocked. "That cannot be right," Trenzar said. "Earth has no space fleet. We isolated them. We cut them off. Apparently they have been busy," someone muttered. The screens flickered. Then they all showed the same image. A woman sitting in a command chair. Behind her was a symbol everyone recognized. The flag of Earth. Blue and green representing the planet's oceans and continents. President Catherine Webb looked directly into the camera. She wore a simple but formal suit. Her expression was calm, but her eyes were hard and cold. "Greetings, Galactic Council," Catherine said. Her voice was clear and strong. "I believe you sent us an invitation to a summit. We apologize for being late. Traffic was terrible." Krelax stepped closer to the screen. "This is impossible. You were isolated. You had no resources. You had no allies. How did you build a fleet?" Catherine smiled. It was not a warm smile. "You left us alone. That was your first mistake. You assumed we needed you. That was your second mistake. You thought isolation would make us weak. That was your third mistake. We are tracking 375 vessels," the computer announced. "All armed. All targeting our position." Another screen showed a tactical display. The human fleet had spread out around the entire planet. They had positioned themselves perfectly. Every major orbital station was covered. Every jump point was blocked. Every defensive platform was under their guns. Admiral Jacob Hayes appeared on another screen. He wore a military uniform with stars on his shoulders. "Madam President, all ships are in position. We have established a complete perimeter." "Thank you, Admiral," Catherine said. Then she looked back at the Council. "Shall we discuss the terms of Earth's attendance at this summit?" Krellax's three eyes blinked rapidly. "This is an act of war. You are threatening the Council." "No," Catherine said calmly. "This is a diplomatic arrival. You invited us to a summit to discuss the galaxy's future. We are here. We brought our fleet because every other species brought theirs. Look at your own sensors. The Vexians have 30 warships in high orbit. The Pleiadians have battle groups at every jump point. Even the peaceful Sorans have enough firepower up there to destroy continents." The ambassadors looked at each other. The human was right. Every species had brought military forces. It was standard practice. Show strength while talking about peace. "The difference," Catherine continued, "is that you all expected Earth to arrive weak and desperate. You expected us to beg for acceptance. Instead, we arrive strong and confident. We are not asking for permission to be here. We are informing you that we are here." Commander Lisa Martinez appeared on a third screen. She held up a data pad. "We have analyzed every ship in the system. We know their capabilities. We know their weaknesses. We are ready for any situation." Trenzar stood up, his forearms spread wide. "You dare threaten us? We have maintained peace in this galaxy for thousands of years. We will not be intimidated by a species that just learned to leave their own planet." Catherine's expression did not change. "You have maintained your version of peace. The kind where stronger species tell weaker ones what to do, where old civilizations look down on young ones, where refusing to obey means punishment. Earth has a different vision of peace. One based on mutual respect between equals." "Equals?" Krellax said. "You think you are our equals?" "I know we are," Catherine said. "And I am about to prove it." She pressed a button. The screens changed again. This time they showed technical specifications. Ship designs, weapon systems, engine technology. Everything humanity had built in 2 years of isolation. The ambassadors stared at the data. Some of them understood immediately. Others needed time to process what they were seeing. "This is impossible," Ambassador Soral whispered. "Some of this technology is more advanced than ours. The quantum drives alone should have taken centuries to develop. It took us 18 months, Catherine said. Turns out when you stop trying to copy other people's homework and do your own thinking, you learn faster." Krellax looked at the screens, then at Catherine, then back at the screens. "What do you want?" "I told you," Catherine said. "We are here for the summit. We want to discuss Earth's place in the galaxy, but we will not do it from our knees. We will do it as equals or not at all." The dome was silent. Outside, the human fleet waited. Inside, the Galactic Council faced a situation they had never imagined. A species they had dismissed as primitive now had them surrounded. Finally, Ambassador Soral spoke. "What are your terms?" Catherine leaned forward in her chair. "Full council membership with voting rights. Recognition of human territorial claims in our region of space. Restoration of all trade and diplomatic relations. In exchange, Earth will sign the mutual defense treaties and participate in council operations." "And if we refuse?" Trenzar asked. Catherine's eyes grew colder. "Then Earth charts its own course. We stay independent, we defend our interests, and any species that interferes with human space will discover why you should never corner a predator. Humans are very good at fighting when we have to." Admiral Hayes spoke up. "We do not want war, but we will not accept subjugation. You tried to teach us a lesson about power. Consider this lesson learned. Now you get to decide what happens next." Krellax looked around at the other ambassadors. Some looked angry. Some looked scared. Some looked thoughtful. The balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted and everyone knew it. "We need time to discuss this," Krellax said finally. "Take all the time you need," Catherine said. "Our fleet is not going anywhere. We waited 2 years for this moment. We can wait a few more hours." The screen went dark. The human ships stayed exactly where they were, not threatening, not retreating, just waiting. In the dome, the Galactic Council began the most important debate in its 10,000-year history. For the first time ever, they had to decide whether to accept a new member on that species' own terms. Outside, the human fleet maintained its position. Every ship was ready. Every weapon was charged. Every crew member was prepared for whatever came next. Earth had refused to attend the summit as students. Now they had arrived as warriors. The galaxy would never be the same again. 2 years had passed since Earth said no to the Galactic Council. 2 long years of silence from the rest of the galaxy. The aliens expected humans to give up and ask for forgiveness. They expected Earth to realize they had made a mistake. They were very wrong about that. Deep under the Rocky Mountains, there was a secret base that most people did not know existed. Director Amanda Pierce worked there, managing the biggest project in human history. She was a woman in her 50s with red hair starting to turn gray and eyes that always looked tired. She had not slept well in 2 years. The base was huge. Miles of tunnels connected hundreds of rooms. Thousands of people worked there every single day. They were building something that would change everything. Amanda walked through one of the main corridors, her shoes clicking on the metal floor. She carried a tablet computer filled with reports and numbers. Her chief engineer, Kevin Walsh, walked beside her. He was a big man with a beard and hands that were always stained with grease. "Give me good news, Kevin," Amanda said. "I could use some good news today." Kevin grinned. "The shipyards are ahead of schedule. Way ahead. We will finish building the new cruisers 2 months early." Amanda stopped walking and stared at him. 2 months, how? Turns out when you stop trying to copy alien technology and just let humans be creative, things move faster, Kevin said. The alien designs were too complicated. They had solutions for problems we do not even have. So we stripped everything down and started fresh. Human designs. Human thinking. They reached a large window that looked out into a massive chamber. Inside, workers in protective suits moved around a spaceship that was nearly complete. It was sleek and powerful looking, nothing like the bulky alien vessels. "That is the Defiant," Kevin said with pride in his voice. "First of the new Defiant-class cruisers. We have 50 more just like it being built right now." Amanda felt something she had not felt in a long time. Hope. "What about the engines? Are we still having problems with the quantum drives?" Kevin's grin got even bigger. Dr. Helen Brooks figured it out. "You know how the aliens use quantum tunneling to travel faster than light?" "Yes," Amanda said. "Well, their math was way too complicated. Dr. Brooks simplified everything. Used basic human calculus. The new drives are actually more efficient than the alien ones. We use less fuel and travel just as fast." Amanda wanted to laugh. The Galactic Council had spent thousands of years developing their technology. Humans had done it better in 2 years. "What about weapons?" Kevin's expression turned serious. "That is where we really shine. Humans are very good at building things that break other things. Always have been. The railguns can punch through any armor we have tested. The missile swarms are terrifying. Even I am scared of them, and I helped design them." "Show me," Amanda said. They walked to another section of the base. This part was even more secure. Guards checked their identification 3 times before letting them through. Inside was a control room filled with computers and display screens. A woman in a military uniform looked up as they entered. Colonel Helen Brooks was small and thin, with short blonde hair and glasses, but her mind was one of the sharpest on the planet. "Director Pierce," Helen said. "Perfect timing. We were just about to run a test." "What kind of test?" Amanda asked. Helen pointed to one of the screens. It showed a simulation of space with 2 ships. "This is our new Defiant-class cruiser versus a Galactic Council heavy cruiser. Standard engagement. The alien ship has shields, energy weapons, and armor that has protected them for centuries." "And our ship?" Amanda asked. "Railguns, missiles, and human stubbornness," Helen said with a small smile. "Watch." The simulation started. The alien ship fired first, energy beams cutting through space. But the human ship was faster, dodging and weaving in ways the bigger alien vessel could not match. Then the Defiant fired back. The railguns made no sound in space, but they hit like hammers. Solid metal projectiles traveling at incredible speed slammed into the alien ship's shields. The shields flickered and failed. Then the missiles arrived. Dozens of them, each one moving independently, each one looking for weak spots in the armor. The simulation ended with the alien ship in pieces. "How accurate is this?" Amanda asked quietly. "Very," Helen said. "We built it using all the data we collected from alien ships over the past 3 years. Their technology is impressive, but it is old. They have not fought a real war in thousands of years. They have forgotten how to think like warriors. Humans never forgot." Amanda looked at Kevin. "How many ships can we build in the next 6 months?" Kevin checked his tablet. Right now we have 50 Defiant-class cruisers under construction, another 25 battleships, and about 300 smaller support vessels. Fighters, scouts, supply ships? Not enough, Amanda said. Double it. I want every shipyard working 24 hours a day. I want every factory on Earth and in space producing materials. I want the biggest fleet this galaxy has ever seen. Yes, ma'am, Kevin said. Far from Earth, on the dark side of the moon, Admiral Jacob Hayes stood on the bridge of a ship that did not officially exist yet. The ECS Valiant was the first true warship humans had ever built. It was designed for one purpose: to fight and to win. Jacob was older now, almost 60, but he stood straight and strong. He had spent 2 years preparing for this moment. 2 years of training crews, testing weapons and planning for every possible situation. Commander Lisa Martinez stood next to him. She had been promoted and given her own command, but today she was here to see the Valiant complete its first test flight. All systems are ready. Admiral, said a young officer at the controls. Take us out, Jacob said calmly. The Valiant moved away from the construction dock. It was beautiful and deadly at the same time. Its hull was dark gray, covered in armor plating that could withstand incredible damage. Weapon systems lined its sides. The bridge was at the center, protected by layers of metal and shielding. How does it feel? Lisa asked. Jacob looked around the bridge. Like we actually have a chance. Do you think the council knows what we have been doing? Lisa asked. Maybe, Jacob said, but I do not think they believe it. They still see us as primitive, as children playing with toys. They are about to learn how wrong they are. His communicator beeped. It was President Catherine Webb calling from Earth. Admiral Hayes, Catherine's voice said. How is our new ship? Perfect, Madam President, Jacob replied. Better than we hoped. Good, Catherine said. Because I just received a message. The Galactic Council is having another summit in 6 months. Same place, same condescending invitation. They want to know if Earth has learned its lesson yet. Jacob smiled. It was not a nice smile. And what did you tell them? I told them we would attend, Catherine said. I think it is time we showed the galaxy what humans have been doing with our quiet time. How many ships do you want me to bring? Jacob asked. There was a pause. Then Catherine said, all of them. I want you to bring every single ship we have built. I want the council to look up and see the sky full of human vessels. I want them to understand exactly what they created when they tried to isolate us. Yes, Madam President, Jacob said. It will be my pleasure. The next 6 months were busy. Every day more ships were completed. Every week more crews finished their training. Earth's space forces grew from nothing to a fleet that would make the Galactic Council nervous. But it was not just about ships. In laboratories around the world, scientists worked on other projects. Better communications, better sensors, better medical technology. Humans were not just building weapons. They were advancing on every front. In a research station on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, a team of scientists made a breakthrough in energy production. They found a way to generate power more efficiently than any species in the galaxy. It meant human ships could operate longer without refueling. On Mars, engineers developed new materials that were stronger and lighter than anything aliens used. It meant human ships could carry more weapons and more armor without being slower. On Earth itself, millions of people worked in factories, farms, and offices, all supporting the effort. They built the missiles. They grew the food. They trained the replacements. Everyone knew what was coming. Everyone wanted to be part of it. Amanda Pierce stood in the main control room of the mountain base looking at a massive display screen. It showed every ship humanity had built, every weapon they had tested, every person who was ready to serve. Kevin Walsh stood beside her. We did it, he said quietly. We actually did it. Not yet, Amanda said. We built the ships. Now we have to use them. Now we have to show the galaxy that Earth is not some backwater planet that can be pushed around. Do you think they will fight us? Kevin asked. Amanda thought about that. I hope not. I hope they are smart enough to see what we have become and accept us as equals. But if they do fight, we will be ready. High above Earth, the fleet gathered. 75 capital ships, 300 support vessels, thousands of crew members all trained and ready. The largest military force humanity had ever created all in one place. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the Valiant looking at the other ships around him. Each one represented human ingenuity. Each one represented human determination. Each one represented the refusal to give up. "All ships report ready, Admiral," Commander Martinez said. The blue light filled the entire room at the United Nations building. Everyone sitting in their chairs looked up as the strange figure appeared in front of them. It was a hologram, but it looked so real that some people almost stood up in surprise. The creature had 3 eyes and skin that looked like purple metal. Its name was Krelax, and he was an ambassador from something called the Galactic Council. He had visited Earth before, but never like this. Never in front of all the world leaders at once. President Catherine Webb sat in the front row. She was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Next to her sat Admiral Jacob Hayes, a military man with 30 years of service. On her other side was Commander Lisa Martinez, younger but just as serious. Krelax began to speak. His mouth made clicking sounds, but a small device translated his words into English. The voice sounded flat and emotionless. "People of Earth, the Galactic Council has decided to grant you an honor. You are invited to the Galactic Unity Summit. 27 civilized species will meet to discuss the future of the galaxy." Catherine leaned forward slightly. Something about the way he said civilized bothered her. It sounded like when adults talk down to children. "What would this summit require from Earth?" she asked. Her voice was calm and professional. Krelax blinked all 3 eyes slowly. "You would listen. You would learn. The Council has watched your species for 3 years now. You show potential, but you are young. Very young. You make mistakes. You fight among yourselves. You need guidance from older, wiser species." The room grew quiet. Catherine could feel the tension rising. Behind her, General Paul Henderson shifted in his seat. Secretary of State Michelle Carter crossed her arms. "And if we attend this summit, what happens then?" Catherine asked. "You accept the Council's wisdom," Krelax said simply. "You follow the rules we have created over thousands of years. You learn your place in the galactic community." Catherine looked at Admiral Hayes. He shook his head just a little bit. She glanced at Michelle Carter, who had her jaw set in a hard line. She could see the same thought in everyone's eyes. This was not really an invitation. This was a demand dressed up as an honor. Catherine stood up slowly. The room watched her. "Ambassador Krelax, we appreciate that the Council has noticed Earth. We appreciate the invitation, but Earth must decline." For a moment nothing happened. Then Krelax's 3 eyes opened wide. His mouth made clicking sounds that the translator could not handle right away. "Decline?" he finally said. "No species declines the Council. This is unheard of." Admiral Hayes stood up next to Catherine. "Well, you just heard it. Earth says no." Krelax's hologram flickered like it was angry. "You do not understand what you are doing. Species that refuse the Council are marked as uncooperative. Do you know what that means?" "Tell us," Catherine said. "It means you will be alone. No trade with other species. No diplomatic talks. No sharing of technology. No allies. Every species in the galaxy will turn away from you. You will have nothing." Catherine smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Then we will have nothing. But we will have our freedom. We will have our dignity. Earth does not bow down to anyone, Ambassador. Not now. Not ever." Krelax stared at her for a long moment. "You are making a terrible mistake. The Council will not forget this insult." "We won't forget this conversation either," Catherine replied. The hologram vanished. The blue light disappeared. The room stayed quiet for several seconds before everyone started talking at once. Catherine held up her hand. "Quiet, please. Everyone stay calm. We knew this might happen." General Henderson stood up. "Madam President, we should prepare for the consequences. If they cut us off, we need to be ready." "I know," Catherine said. "Admiral Hayes, Commander Martinez, come with me. We have work to do." The next few hours moved very fast. News of Earth's refusal spread across the planet within minutes. Some people were scared. Some were angry. Some were proud. But everyone knew that things were about to change. In space, the change began immediately. Alien ships that had been orbiting Earth started to leave. Trade vessels that had been delivering goods turned around. The space station called Unity 1 watched as dozens of alien ships departed. Commander Lisa Martinez stood on the bridge of Unity 1, watching the ships go. She was a short woman with dark hair tied back in a tight bun. Her second officer, Lieutenant Greg Moore, stood beside her. "They are all leaving," Greg said. "Every single alien ship in the solar system." Lisa nodded. "They want to show us what isolation means. They think we will panic, will we?" Greg asked. Lisa smiled. Have you ever met a human who gave up just because things got hard? Greg smiled back. No, Commander, I have not. Down on Earth, President Catherine Webb called an emergency meeting. The room was full of military leaders, scientists, engineers, and government officials. Everyone looked worried. Catherine stood at the head of the table. I know what you are all thinking. We just made an enemy of the entire galaxy. We are alone now. We have no allies, no trade partners, and no access to alien technology. She paused and looked around the room. But here is what the Galactic Council does not understand about humans. We are at our best when our backs are against the wall. We are strongest when everyone tells us we cannot do something. They think isolation is a punishment. I think it is an opportunity. Admiral Hayes nodded. What do you have in mind, Madam President? We build, Catherine said simply. We have been trying to copy alien technology for 3 years, trying to understand their ships, their weapons, their engines. It has been slow work because we are trying to think like them. Now we stop doing that. Now we think like humans. We build our own ships. We create our own technology. We do it our way. A scientist named Kevin Walsh raised his hand. That could take years, maybe decades. Then we better start now, Catherine said. The Council thinks we will come crawling back in a few months. They think we need them. We are going to prove them wrong. Michelle Carter spoke up. And what happens when they have their next summit? What if they invite us again? Catherine's eyes were cold and hard. Then we will attend. But we will not go as students begging for knowledge. We will not go as children asking for permission. When we attend the next summit, we will arrive as equals. And if they do not like that, they will learn exactly what happens when you underestimate humanity. The room was silent for a moment. Then someone started clapping, then another person. Soon the entire room was applauding. Admiral Hayes leaned close to Catherine. You know this is going to be the hardest thing humanity has ever done. Catherine nodded. I know, but we did not get to where we are by taking the easy path. The Council tried to put us in our place. Now we show them that humans do not have a place. We make our own place. Outside the building, Earth spun through space alone for the first time in 3 years. No alien ships in orbit. No alien ambassadors in the cities. No alien technology being studied in the laboratories. But in laboratories around the world, scientists were already getting to work. In shipyards on the dark side of the moon, construction crews were preparing new projects. In military bases across every continent, soldiers were training for a future they could barely imagine. The Galactic Council had tried to teach Earth a lesson about power and respect. They were about to learn a lesson of their own. They were about to learn that the worst thing you can do to a human is tell them they are not good enough. Earth had refused to attend the summit. But that was not the end of the story. That was just the beginning.